For question one, I thought it was interesting how, since she sewed intimate undergarments, I thought she would have discreet, intimate conversations with, but she was actually deprived of that kind of connection like all the other women in the house. For question two, the value that I identified was Esther and marriage and how it affects her. The romantic connection that Esther really craves. This was like how she receives the intimate letters that George Armstrong sends her. She's also really jealous of all the women in her house that are getting married, and this kind of adds to her loneliness. The second value identified was freedom or lack thereof for Mr. Marks and Mrs. Marks, and this is sexual freedom that Mame has and that Mrs. Van has wants. Where Mame wants the kind of loving relationship that she thinks Mrs. Van and Mr. Van has, this shows the kind of grass is greener on the other side principle that she believes in. That is a central theme. Mr. Marks is also unable to continue anything that Esther wants because he's engaged to someone else and it goes engaged to someone else. For question three, I first thought that intimate apparel would relate to underwear and corsets, but after I read the book and looked it up, it helped me understand that the character of Esther and where she wants an intimate marriage, but she has low self-esteem, so she has to hide herself the way her customers do with corsets. For question four, I think the play highlights the African American experience. There are still a lot of plays that show African American stereotypes, meaning they're more two-dimensional, which is very dehumanizing. But this play goes to show how the fears, dreams, and hopes of any race are all the same all around. But African Americans are held back because of the racial stereotypes that have been perpetuated. I think this is what Nottage wants to show with the play. For question five, I think a lot of African American stereotypes are still pretty prevalent, even though there are a lot of African Americans advancing academically and professionally. I think this has been perpetuated by institutional racism, mostly because African Americans have been discriminated for so long. They don't have the same opportunities that many other races do. So the cycle continues for generation after generation, which is how it is in Chicago, where some lower class or neighborhoods don't have the same opportunities, which is Chicago where I'm from. I think improving opportunities in those areas will help overcome this. For question six, my first question was, why do you think Nottage had tried to address many different topics of diversity and freedom, like race, gender, and independence for women? My second question is, how does the fact that this play is based on Nottage's great-grandmother affect the message of the play?